Hello students, I hope you are all fine and in good health. So let me continue from where I left in my previous audio presentation. I will continue from the next paragraph. So since Rajendra Prasad was not at home, something has to be done. And Gandhiji can't wait there for long, right? So let's see what he did. Gandhiji decided to go first to Muzaffarpur, which was en route to Champaran, to obtain more complete information about conditions than Shukla was capable of imparting. Now, Gandhiji himself being a lawyer, he wanted some more information regarding this injustice system, or the injustice that and how the sharecroppers were exploited and all those information. So he decided to move to Muzaffarpur because Rajendra Prasad was not at home and it might be late, and he wanted some concrete information. Rajkumar Shukla obviously given him an overview of the entire situation, but he wanted some more valuable information about this injustice of the landlord system that was in Bihar during those days. So what he did, he accordingly sent a telegram to Professor J.P. Kripalani of the Arts College in Muzaffarpur, whom he had seen at Tagore Shantiniketan school. Okay, so he had an acquaintance by the name of Professor J.P. Kripalani of the Arts College in Muzaffarpur, and whom he had met previously in Shantiniketan, in Tagore School in Shantiniketan. So he has sent a telegram to him. The train arrived at midnight, 15th April 1917. So he reached Muzaffarpur. Kripalani was already been informed by the telegram, so he gathered at the station with a huge crowd of students. All were very much ready to welcome Gandhiji. See, it is written, Kripalani was waiting at the station with a large body of students. Gandhiji stayed there for 2 days in the home of Professor Malkani, a teacher in a government school. Now, Gandhiji stayed for a couple of days and he stayed at the house of Professor Malkani. And Professor Malkani was a teacher in a government school. Now, it was an extraordinary thing in those days. Why extraordinary thing? Now, you have to go back to history books a bit in order to know why it was extraordinary, because Gandhiji was a supporter of the Home Rule movement. Not only Gandhiji, but Lokmanya Tilak and Annie Besant, they were also supporters of the Home Rule movement, Purna Swaraj, or what we call Home Rule movement. And it was a strictly, it was a rule been already introduced by the British authority members that anyone who is actually a supporter of the Home Rule movement should not be given shelter in the house. So it was extraordinary because despite knowing this fact, he was been given shelter in the house by Professor Malkani. See, it is written, it was an extraordinary thing in those days. Gandhiji commented, for a government professor to harbor a man like me. In smaller localities, the Indians were afraid to show sympathy for advocates of Home Rule. And obviously, he was a supporter of Home Rule movement. He, Lokmanya Tilak, and Annie Besant, as I already told you. So people, they used to be very scared to give shelter to those people who are actually the supporters of the Home Rule movement, because they used to fear the law, the British law. But despite that, Professor Malkani gave shelter to Gandhiji in his house for 2 days. The news of Gandhi's advent. Advent actually means, dear students, arrival, and of the nature of his mission spread quickly through Muzaffarpur and to Champaran. Now his arrival, it spread quickly, the news spread quickly all over Muzaffarpur and Champaran. Sharecroppers from Champaran began arriving on foot and by convenience to see their champion. So obviously his news came that a savior came, and the name of the savior is Gandhiji. So the news spread all over Muzaffarpur, the news spread in Champaran district also. So large number of sharecroppers or illiterate peasants, they gather around to see Gandhiji, to meet with him. Some came on foot and some came by convenience to see their champion. Obviously the champion is the savior by the name of M.K. Gandhi. Muzaffarpur lawyers called on Gandhi to brief him, and Gandhiji wanted to know the actual briefing of the incident. So he summoned the Muzaffarpur lawyers, and then he fixed an appointment with them and discussed about the case of these particular farmers and what is the main problem, What is the crisis? He wanted the Muzaffarpur lawyers to give him a brief info related to that. So I repeat, Muzaffarpur lawyers called on Gandhi to brief him. They frequently represented peasant groups in court. They told him about their cases and reported the size of their fee. So the Muzaffarpur lawyers, they actually gave Gandhiji a brief of the entire case, that is the injustice of the landlord system in Bihar. They gave an overview briefing to Gandhiji regarding that. And apart from that, the fees that they used to take from the peasants, they gave an info to Gandhiji related to that one also. So now let me move on. Gandhiji chided the lawyers for collecting big fee from the sharecroppers. Chided actually means scolded. Now why Gandhiji scolded? Because these illiterate sharecroppers, it is very difficult for them to make both ends meet. And if they had to pay a large amount of money to the lawyers, then what will be left for them to fight? So Gandhiji, that is the reason he actually scolded the lawyers, that why you take so much of money for them? They are all poor sharecroppers. He said, I have come to the conclusion that we should stop going to law courts. Taking such cases to the courts does little good. Where the peasants are also crushed and fear stricken, law courts are useless. The real relief for them is to be free from fear. Now Gandhiji came to the conclusion and he told it to everyone, to every lawyers present in the meeting, that it is not possible for them to win a decisive victory in a legal court against the British lawyers. So this battle has to be fought outside the legal court. And most important thing, before they plunge into this battle against the Britishers or against the injustice that were being faced by the sharecroppers, illiterate sharecroppers, the peasants had to be courageous. That is the first and foremost important thing that Gandhiji actually told them. They had to be free from fear. So dear students, I am repeating this line once again. Where the peasants are so crushed and fear stricken, law courts are useless, because inside the legal court, the peasants will be crushed and their opinions won't be taken into due consideration. So it is better that this legal battle should be fought outside the legal court. And most importantly, before we fight against the British lawyers, we fight against the system, it is most important that the peasant, they should be free from fear. Their mind should be totally free from fear. Then only it is possible for them to fight against the Britishers. Most of the arable land, arable means the land that is easily cultivated, that is known as arable. Or we can use the word fertile also. So I repeat, most of the arable land in the Champaran district was divided into large estates owned by the Englishmen and worked by Indian tenants. I already told you that the British estate officials, they are at the top of the power. And it seems that the tenants or the zamindars or the landlords, they used to work under their guidance. And they used to employ the poor illiterate peasants who used to pay them a compensation of 15%. 20% sometimes related with the indigo cultivation and all this. So it is out and out an exploitation of the poor farmers by the landlords, and they are being controlled by the British estate officers. So this entire mechanism had to be crushed, and Gandhiji succeeded in doing that. How he succeeded, we will get to know as we will proceed. So let me continue. The chief commercial crop was indigo. The landlords compelled actually means forced all tenants to plant 3/20ths or 15% of their holdings with indigo and surrender the entire indigo harvest as rent. This was done by long-term contract. So they had to surrender the indigo harvest as rent, and it was a long-term contract, and it is like an ancient settlement. That means it was going on for a long time. For a long time, this particular settlement or this particular deal is going on. Presently, the landlords learned that Germany had developed synthetic indigo. They thereupon obtained agreements from the sharecroppers to pay them compensation for being released from the 15% arrangement. So obviously, the landlords, they got the information that in Germany the synthetic indigo had been developed. Now they decided to obtain the compensation from the peasants, that is the 15% agreement, and it is very difficult for the peasants now. Now what should be done? Their sharecropping arrangement was irksome to the peasants and many signed willingly. Those who resisted engaged lawyers, the landlords hired thugs. Thugs means goons or gundas, we can say. Meanwhile, the information about synthetic indigo reached the illiterate peasants who had signed, and they wanted their money back. Now, the important thing is that obviously the synthetic indigo, this information the peasants they also got. Now they wanted their money back, and they were most of them were illiterate, so they signed wherever they were being asked to sign instead of reading the entire procedure of the dealing or the settlement on which they were signing, because they were mostly illiterate. So now they wanted their money back, and it is not possible for them to get their money back because they are not only exploited but they are beaten up by the landlords who employed thugs. Some of the peasants, they employed lawyers also to fight the case for them. At this point, Gandhiji arrived in Champaran. When all these things were going on, when it's like a burning cauldron, when all these things were going on, that the lawyers were appointed by few of the peasants and few of the peasants were being beaten up by the goons or the thugs employed by the landlords because they dared to ask for the compensation, they dared to ask for the money back. At this situation only, when this crisis was going on regarding the injustice of the landlord system in Bihar, at that time only Gandhiji arrived in Champaran. So dear students, I stop here in my audio lecture presentation. In my next audio lecture presentation, I will continue from this same page number 49, from the next paragraph. Dear students, it is my advice, please go through this audio lecture, and if there is any doubt, any problem whatsoever, do ask me. Thank you students. Thank you all.